Hi y'all, welcome back. Today we're going to be changing the oil to the freeze dryer pump, and the first thing that we have to do is run the pump for a minute according to the manual. So we've turned off, or we've closed the drain valve. We're going to come up here to the leaf. We're going to hit the leaf, and then right here where it says vacuum, we're going to turn that on. We're going to toggle it, and we're going to wait. We're going to let it run for a minute. So we're just going to, it's on. We're going to let that go for a minute, then we're going to go ahead and toggle it back off, and then we'll be ready to get started. Alright, so we let it go for a minute, and then you can just either toggle it off there or hit done, which is what I did, and it stopped it. Now I went ahead and opened the valve. That's what that sound is. And then we are ready to start the oil change.
Alright, so it has a very small hole, and you're going to line it up with this little brass part under here, and you're just going to twist it open. It has a little spot, I'm assuming, so you could put it maybe, a flathead screwdriver in here, and you're going to let it all drain out, and then you're going to remove the demister here from there. And so I would think probably one of the biggest questions is how long that's going to take, and to be gone through the filter, I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to happen pretty quick, because we're actually going to take what it filters out and we're going to put it back in there. You can imagine you probably could measure it down and put a mark on there at some point for your own use, but I would think that we'll see how long it takes to just let it filter. And so I'm going to line that up right there. And it didn't take any. It's got enough ridges on here that you can turn it by hand, and it's no problem. And so you can see the top of this before it's going into the filter is actually filling it up. So it's going to take a minute. And of course you can see it's got a slight yellowish color. I don't know if that's able to be picked up.
Yeah, I can see it.
But when I'm looking at it up here as it's coming out, it looks quite clear. It's just down in here it looks yellowy. So it's almost done draining, but once it's done, we're going to close this back off and take this off, because that's where we're going to put our oil in, and it's almost completely done, and I haven't seen the first drop come through the bottom. So we're going to find out how long that does take.
Yeah, the first drop hasn't come down. I imagine it's going to take quite a while. Like this part won't take long at all.
Right. So this right here has been, I would say, probably under a minute. So if we were putting fresh oil in here and not filtering this oil, this honestly really probably could be done in 2 minutes, because you're going to run the pump for a minute, and then you're going to take a minute to drain it.
Alright, so now it's just little drops coming.
Right.
Are you just going to keep it there till there's no drops, or?
Nope, I'm actually going to tilt it some, because that's what it actually says to do, is give it a little bit of a tilt. So I'm gonna turn this around so I can grab it with the other hand.
And then
I'm going to tilt it so I can get some more out.
Okay, you're just holding that handle up there and tilting it down towards the jug. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a lot more coming out now.
And so it does take a little bit of effort, from where you normally have the pump set, because the pump is actually quite heavy just by itself. But to actually, get it to the edge of the shelf and tip it, it's not that big a deal.
Because we normally don't keep the pump. Like right now, you're right here at the edge, but we normally don't keep the pump at the edge.
Right, right.
Okay.
And so you would probably, it's not hot from running it for that minute, but if you happen to change it and it was still hot, I mean, it would be hard to grab a hold of at that point. So,
okay. So it's doing its drops again.
So I'm going to tilt it just a little bit more, and I think that's going to be it. I'll let it, and I think I'm just now starting to get some oil come through the very bottom. And I'm going to call that done. I'm going to tilt it back, and I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to twist this back closed. Okay, now that I have it closed, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to close that so that nothing falls in here. And as you can see, there's just just starting to drip.
Yeah, it's barely.
And so we're going to let that sit. And I'm going to get a little bit of paper towel because I want to wipe this off just so we don't have any potential drip. And let's see what we got. Yeah, just a little bit of a drop. And then we're just going to take this off, and it's just, and then I'm going to set this off to the side. And there it is. And you can see that there's some oil here because there's this little O-ring that goes with it. And this is where we're going to pour that back in. We're going to pour everything once it's done back in there. And I guess we will be back when we feel that we've filtered out all of this dirty oil compared to what the new oil looks like right here. Okay, so it has been roughly 30 minutes, and you can see where we're still at, and you can see just a little bit down here at the bottom. So this is going to be quite a long process, and we were a little nervous because we were going to run into town, and we thought maybe it would finish before we got back, but looking at the pace in 30 minutes, I'm going to have to go with nowhere close. Okay, so it has been roughly 3 hours. We are almost there. You can still see that we have a little bit more left. All right, so here it's been roughly 5.5 to 6 hours. We actually had looked at this before we went outside to do some gardening, and it still wasn't done. And we came back in, and it is now completely finished. And if we were to guess, that's probably at the 500 mark, if there was a 500. And you can see it's a little bit, it's not as clear as what it goes in as, but that's no big deal. All right, so I'm going to pour this in straight from this pitcher. And once I get the level to the halfway in the glass, then I'm going to add the demister on here. So it would be nice if they did put a halfway mark or a couple other graduation marks on there. But when it's roughly halfway, I'm put the demister on, and we'll be good. And we may need what's left in this bottle to actually get it there, because I don't know that 500 was the total that it needs, but we'll see. And it does take a minute from the time you start pouring till you start seeing any movement in that glass.
But the good thing is I know that it's going to be at least this amount before it gets there, so I don't really have to pay that close attention. And so that is all of that. And this has not moved yet. And so it will take a minute to move, and we can show you that when we get done. Okay, so we ended up having to put what we had left in here to get us to the half. We're actually a little over half at this point. So the good thing to know is a 25 ounce or a 750 milliliter bottle of your oil for your pump is enough to get you through 2 cycles. So we did, obviously, when it was brand new, we put it in. Now we've got another 20 to 30 batches that we can get out of this. And then, I don't know if you can remember, there was the O-ring right there. Okay, so I took the O-ring off of here and I set it back on here just so it would be perfectly lined up. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to just very easily thread it on until it stops. And then that's it. And then I'm going to move my pump back to where it should be, because I don't want it to stick this far out, because we actually close this curtain when we're not using it. And I'm going to set it back to where it is when we normally use it.
So now that you've done that, I am clear to run a batch just like normal?
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys, that concludes this oil change video on the Harvest Right. Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Till next time.